Live from Dead Pit Studios South. Welcome to No News is Good News, where the news comes first, even if it sucks. Your shitty news reporters are Uncle Bill, Stuntman Mark, and Rambo Rough Life.
Welcome again to the second edition of the most horrible news broadcast ever put to a stream. So this is No News is Good News, where we talk about like just awful news that's coming up and maybe some good news that's coming up. Who knows? Some of the awful news might be good news for some people. I don't know who, especially for some of these news stories, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out tonight. But of course, joining with me tonight on my right is the man, Rambo Raff. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. I'm glad it's not storming here. Apparently, it's been flipped, and now it's to these two gentlemen having storms.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll probably lose it. So other than that, doing well. Had a bit of a shave. Got some mellow yellow. So it's all good.
Yeah. And directly beneath us, for no apparent reason, is Stuntman Mark. How you doing?
I'm good, man. So funny you mentioned the shave. I actually shaved too. I think we did it both for the occasion. We're professionals here. That's what it is.
That's what we're trying to do. Trying to look all dapper.
Well, I'm trying for part of a truck driver to fight Chuck Norris in a sequel to Breaker Breaker. Bring back the CB Raiders. Bring back the Convoy. God damn it. Bring back that song, Convoy, for all you 5 of you who remember that song.
Wasn't that Jerry Reed? Was that fucking Jerry Reed?
No, but I know it's like, we are working convoy across the USA.
Okay. Yeah.
And Sam Peckinpah did a movie based on it where he was high as a kite. And so Chris Christopher pretty much had to take over to direct it. It was Sam Peckinpah's biggest movie.
We never really have talked about Peckinpah, but that guy was insane, like literally like crazy. And yeah, like you said, mostly like intoxicated on most things. Yeah. But
yeah, the most telling is if real quick, if you ever did the Osterman Weekend, which has Rutger Hauer and a crazy cast, there's a documentary that just tells the whole story about just how completely against the wind he was on his final days, and very interesting films. Got Rutger Hauer, Creed T. Nelson, John Hurt. I think Dennis Hopper is like, I think Meg Foster is a pretty crazy movie. But
dude,
anyway.
speaking of Dennis Hopper, for no apparent reason today, and this has nothing to do with this show, by the way, but I watched Hoosiers again, and he was amazing in that movie, man. Like you see him like he plays some sort of like psychotic character. He's some villain or something in a movie or just some sort of eccentric. But he was like, that was probably his best dramatic role, I think. Like one of his best had to be just playing the town drunk in Hoosiers, like, which was a great film over. I'd forgotten that film even existed, but I watched it today for some reason. Anyway.
Nice.
Let us take a look at who's in here with us right now. Wild Wranglers here. Good to have you. Cole Warner's Movie and Game Chamber. We've already got questions and shit. Okay. We'll get to those in a second. Chris C. Preminators. Good to see you. The Boba Fett's. Caleb Farrar. Movie Junkie Jen. Crash 517. The Mayor. I'm trying to get down to the bottom of the screen. I hate the way they do this chat. The Zero Cool. And lots of other people that I cannot currently bring up because this thing sucks. But it's good to have you all here. So, real quick, let's see what this question was. Oh, okay. Favorite Back to the Future movie? Just before we get things kicked off here, what is your favorite Back to the Future movie?
When I was a kid, it was the second one. But I've grown to make the first one's my favorite. I think just the setup of it all and the whole story about meeting your own dad if you're that age, and Crispin Glover, which I know there's a whole drama with him for the sequels and what happened with all that. And But yeah, I would say right now the first one.
Yeah, he actually sued them and won, which I thought was pretty funny
Wow.
because they basically used a stunt double for the entire second movie for him.
And something about Crispin, he didn't like the way that character was portrayed. And so, because the way they portray the character is like he was upside down in the future, just being a fucking goof.
Mhm.
And he's like, can you use people's intellectual, like facial, like property on the assumption of people went up to him and said, you were good in that movie. And I'm like, I wasn't in that movie. That wasn't me. So people thought he did that movie. So he felt a bit trepidatious about that. Like, wait a minute, that's ruining his view, I don't know how the hell he put it, but
Well, the thing about it is too,
win.
when I was a kid, I had no idea that wasn't him. And I guess that's what they were going for, but that 100% like got me. I mean, and I'd say most people had no idea that wasn't him in the second film. But if you watch it now, knowing what you know now, it's hilarious, man, because like it's a really bad makeup job, and that's the shittiest role for him too.
Yeah, it convinced me when I was a kid too. Like I had no idea. It wasn't until much later I revisited all the films. I'm like, wait a minute, something's a little off here. But yeah, as far as the best or the one I like the most, the first one. I mean, the sequel is great. I even like the third one. I think it's a great trilogy. It's fun. I have a good time with all of them.
Yeah, I think that you can't beat the first one. Like, there's no way. I'm just laughing at this comment that Wes put up, which I cannot put on here. But I think it's a wonderful song that you can probably find on Patreon at this point.
I see the comment.
I see it.
All right.
Man.
And you guys got that reference.
They call them tater salads. I'll put it that way.
They call him tater salad. I guess. All right. So a couple people joined us here. Cornelius Young, Alyssa Milano, star of Teen Wolf 3, of course. It's always glad to have you here. Alana Hamilton. That's a new one, as far as I know.
Cool.
Good to have you.
How's Linda doing?
Shit. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to just go ahead and start with the lead story, I guess. The biggest story that I could find for this edition, and it may not be what you think for some people, but it may be exactly what you think. So apparently, the new Exorcist film, which is directed by David Gordon Green, for those people that don't know, directed the Halloween new reboot, reimagining, whatever the hell those things are. They screened, the new trailer is out for this, by the way, and they screened the film in New York City. And apparently it got one of the worst test screenings that any film has gotten there for quite a long time, with pretty much the huge majority of people that saw it saying that it was long, boring, not scary, and essentially overhyped, which basically sounds like every film that dude has done. So, yeah. I know that's shocking to everybody here that movie didn't turn out well, at least in the initial stages. But yeah,
I remember when I heard the title, and I was actually with Mark, and I thought it was a made-up title at first, and he did it as well, I think, because The Exorcist Believer. And like Mark had this look on his face, like.
Oh,
and then I thought, oh, well, they'll probably just call it The Exorcist, like they called Halloween. But I guess they're going with this Believer.
Oh yeah.
I hope they have that song. What was it?
Dude,
I'm a believer.
If they had any balls at all, they'd take that Aussie Believer song and that'd be like the opening, that bass line. Boom. And then fucking
oh god,
have Ellen burst and wheel herself out there. to that as the soundtrack.
with her oxygen tank.
Mm.
So from the get-go, it's such a lame, lackluster title. Like, how does that excite, even on a marketing way? Does this title excite you? The Exorcist Believer. It just
No,
sounds like
it's a
a
very-
lame pilot for a TV show.
Yeah, it really isn't a good title. I'm not sure what they were going for there, but I
As
don't know.
generic as it is, if one deserved resurrection, the Exorcist would actually make sense, just as religious and the Christ resurrection. It probably wouldn't be a good title either, but because it's been so overused in Alien Resurrection, Halloween Resurrection, but
Yeah.
of
I don't
all
know.
the movies, like Exorcist will actually work with that, with the religious aspect, but Believer.
So a lot of people are saying, a lot of the comments here are kind of centered around the fact that they want this to fail for one of two reasons. It seems like either just to fucking like kill Gordon Green's career, which is fine with me too, or for the fact that if it fails now, they're thinking that maybe that they can save it, I guess, before it actually hits the wide market. Here's the thing though. Normally, with very, very few exceptions, when something shits the bed this hard at a test screening, there's not a lot you can do with it. Like you can't save it through re-edits and reshoots and things like that a lot of times. And they have tried to do that. To me, the guy that's the king of that shit's like Michael Bay, who's tried to do that like over and over and over again. And a lot of those films are just goddamn messes. And I suspect that this one will be as well, because I don't know about you guys, but I suspect that they'll probably go back and probably reshoot and edit and also cut back the time frame on it, I would say. I mean, the running time.
Yeah, I could see that. Definitely. Either that or them like trying to add in maybe some gore here or there, something like that. That's usually what ends up happening in these types of situations. It's really bizarre, the title, like you mentioned already. But I said this to you, Bill, like Uncle Bill, like I said this, like, and Rambo too. They couldn't come up with great titles for the Halloween trilogy either. The easiest thing is to make a title or a catchy title,
Kills,
I can say. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had no faith in the screenplays, and look at how that trilogy turned out. It's the same thing here. Now, my thing is, I think with this movie doing so bad, let's say they do their re-edits, whatever, they put it out and it still bombs. Does that mean that we won't get the other two? Are they shooting these back to back? I'm not even sure.
I'm not sure either. I kind of hope we don't get the other two, because I don't know, man. Like, did anybody want to see the fucking Exorcist remade? Like,
No.
Was that on anybody's list of things? Like, that's a good idea.
Jason
like
Blum, maybe.
Yeah, that's just one of those movies that, like, I don't need a remake of it. It's almost a perfect film. Like, you don't really want to fuck with it. Like, but they always do.
And there's been so many takes of it. Like,
yeah,
you've had people try their hand at it, and then none of them come close to the
bunch
original.
of people, by the way, and a bunch of horrible flops. Like, probably more horrible movies, or almost as many horrible movies as Texas Chainsaw Massacre, have come from The Exorcist, trying to be like, you look at like Exorcist 2, and then the two films that were made back to back in the early 2000s. Like, I can't even remember the fucking titles of them now. Like the beginning and
Dominion.
Yeah. So it's like, dude, like, it's just not a good idea to try that at this point.
Well, that was an example of reshooting. Dominion didn't test well. Then they got Rennie Harlan to shoot it more like an action film. And look how that turned out. And he added more gore, and that didn't help.
No.
And more CGI. And that's completely bombed.
So they're going to get rid of him and get Rennie Harlan back?
I hope so. Wouldn't that be awesome? They fucking bring Rennie Harlan in.
And the generic title for the second one will be Legion or some shit like that.
Have they stayed what the story is? I mean, if there's a test screen, do you think there'd be a general gist of what the story is?
There's a trailer, but I haven't watched it, and I suspect it probably doesn't like give you any kind of background or anything.
Not really, from what I saw. It's just
let me see what I've got here real quick.
The daughter like gets possessed, her friend gets possessed.
I'm
surprised
they don't have. I'm surprised they do not have Linda Blair in this. I'm just surprised for the nostalgia. Not saying it'd be good.
Probably
I'm saying
have a
nostalgia.
small part.
Yeah.
I can't see them not having her in a very, very small part, if nothing else.
I'm
It'll
just
be
saying
like
like a starring because yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah,
I was just gonna say it'll be like her part in Scream, where she's like
she's
on
a
there for like,
reporter.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
I can't find a whole lot about like what the plot of this thing is, but here's what it is from IMDb: sequel to the 1973 film, blah blah blah. Da, da, da. So it doesn't even tell you like anything about the actual new film. But if anybody can find that and post it in the chat, that would be amazingly helpful. Let's get some comments going here.
For a second, I thought you were going to say instead of Scream, it was going to be like Repossessed.
I hope so. I love that movie. Like, I could watch that movie over any of these other like Exorcist films. So most people are saying the same thing. They're shocked that it's horrible. Yeah. James Wan should create a new Exorcist film. I think Preminator said that. That's actually
called The Conjuring.
Yeah, that's actually a better idea than getting David Gordon Green to do it.
Eli Roth.
Shit.
He needs to come back.
It hopes all three films are awful. L.A. Jewel says he likes Gordon Green and wanted this to be good. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sure it will be. It'll be fine. Everybody's talking just a lot of shit talking about this right now.
I'm sure people are like, "Oh, well, you can't say that, guys. You haven't seen the film yet. You made up your mind before you saw it. You just toxic.
Nobody said that yet. Amazingly,
toxic.
Yeah.
So
you haven't seen it yet. You're already judging it.
Will we be seeing it at the theater just to see how it is? Is it going to theaters? Is this going to be a theatrical release? I thought it was like a Netflix.
I think it is a theatrical release.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Then the Pope's Exorcist did a theater release for Russell Crowe.
It did.
It did.
I mean, if that got a theater release, he's like, looking like John Belushi.
Even tried to watch that for a second.
But what if he was fighting demons like the South Park episode where he just run around and fought people like that song played? It was just Russell Crowe. He has to pick fights with all the demons.
So Brent Madison says Linda Blair is in it. Okay.
Yeah, I remember reading that she was like on the set, but I think they said like it was a smaller role of some sort. Like it's not a significant part though.
So I think overall, like David Gordon Green, I'm wondering at this point if he's one of those dudes, because I actually liked the Halloween 2018 one, and then progressively like that shit just went downhill like really, really quick. So I'm wondering if he's one of those guys that just kind of like he had like a fairly good initial kind of vision, and then like from that point on, like he's just kind of shit the bed, kind of like, you know, bands that make their like a good album and then just kind of slowly go downhill from that point on. If at this point he's kind of run out of like vision and overall just run out of steam, because I haven't seen anything from that guy.
Well, you would think that this first movie would be the best thing that he's got if he's got all these ideas for the trilogy. I mean, that's the movie that would draw you in, right? To watch the others. So, I mean, if this one isn't even good, like that's a really bad sign.
Maybe he's just starting slow. Like this is his Phantom Menace, and then he's gonna
get me started on
that. Why does he want to? Chris C asked a good question. Why does he want to do fucking trilogies all the time?
That's a good question. I don't know.
He's got a vision, guys, and I think we should let him destroy that vision in front of all of us.
Yeah, tunnel vision.
All right, but that was my big news story. What's anybody else got?
Go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So it's not necessarily big news, but it's something I think most genre fans are either going to take a glance at or completely ignore. They've released the first image for Welcome to Derry. Have you guys seen this yet?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's nothing really great. It's just like a plain glass window with like a character name on it, but the last name is Bowers. So to me, like you're kind of beating a dead horse here with this. I think we've gotten everything we needed to get out of the Pennywise character, the whole dairy thing. I said this to Rambo recently. There's a reason King started the book where he did. The most interesting stuff that was going to happen with that character was with the 7 kids that we saw, like in the whole story. Like, we don't need anything else. In my opinion, you're trying to make something out of nothing. And once you start doing that, you really dilute any sort of mystique to the character, any mystery. It's like the Rob Zombie Halloween remake thing. Let's see why Michael's crazy. We don't need to know. Like, I don't get that. Maybe I'm the only one who has a problem with it, but I don't think this will be good. I didn't even think the chapter 2 was a great follow up. I like the camaraderie with the kids and like the
You didn't
first
like that,
chapter. No,
Mark?
no. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Skarsgård as the character either. So if he's even in this, I've seen rumors that he's not in it. So I don't know who the hell is Pennywise then. But,
I mean, am I the only person though that thinks, because like that performance and everything got him over huge and like everybody was talking about it. But to me, the only shit he did in that movie was he had the eye thing, which is something he could like normally do anyway, like with his eye where he kind of moved it over to one side or whatever. And then like, the weird lip thing, which is something else that he can do. Those are fucking gimmicks, man. That's not like a performance. That's just gimmicky shit that you can do. That's like shit you would do when you were in 7th grade to entertain your friends. Like Tim Curry was 1,000 times better actor and in that role, a better actor than I ever fucking thought about being.
Oh yeah.
I don't understand. I just never understood the big thing about his performance in that or whatever. Especially in the second one, man. The second one.
Yeah, for me, like what I do like about chapter 2, I do like James McAvoy's character. There are certain performances I can get behind. There's a lot more footage like with the kids and stuff when they were younger spliced in as well. So I like that. But as a whole, it doesn't work. And I think they got most of the point of like the book over with both films, but like, why do we need this series? It's very pointless to me. I don't think anybody's out there is like, oh, we need more Pennywise stuff. It's done. Just let it go.
So what are they doing with Pennywise? Do you know? Like, who's playing Pennywise in that?
That's the thing. Like, I saw for the longest time leading up till like the first image being released that it's not Skarsgård. So I don't know who it is.
It could be.
Maybe he did get cast and I just missed it, but I haven't seen that. If anybody in the chat knows, feel free to type it in.
Let's see here. Chris says he didn't mind chapter 2. Oh, go ahead, Matt. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm trying to get it out because this is just so traumatic for me.
Oh God.
When you have an ending where they make fun of your villain and he turns to fucking baby. A baby that you kicked through a field goal, I was on fire. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna make fun of you, I'm gonna laugh at you, and would defeat him with the power of laughter. They should have brought Patch Adams in to defeat Pennywise. They should have done that. And he turns to a baby.
Yeah,
that was in the book or not. So he turned to a baby because they made fun of him and picked on him. And they thought this was a great ending for what was it, 2 hours or something? In a 2-part story.
Yeah, it was over 2 hours. Yeah.
Give me the giant tarantula any day over a CGI Pennywise did to the size of a penny because they did a Patch Adams on it. Give me a break.
You ever just be watching something like, and I can't remember where I saw that at the first time. I think I may have seen it in the theater. And you're just watching it and you're like, I know what they were going for here, but this is fucking ridiculous looking. Like it just deflates into this like little tiny like Pennywise. Looks like a deflated basketball or something. And their whole like means of killing him is just to shout insults at him and laugh at him. And I'm like, this is really stupid. Like they really fucked this up. But you're just kind of stuck there. So
here's the thing. You said you know what they were going for. It's to showcase you don't have power over me of fear.
Right.
They've done that. It's called the original Nightmare on Elm Street, where Nancy turns away from Freddy. I didn't find that laughable. I found the Barbie doll mom going into the bit laughable, but that wasn't Wes's fault. That was Bob Shea. But before that was good.
Right.
But then Bob Shea wanted the Barbie doll. It looks like a Barbie doll, but that's the one thing I love. Yeah, go ahead.
It just looks like a blow up doll with a dress on it just being sucked.
That's what it is. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'd love to know who shot that though, and then like look back at it and was like, yeah, that looks good. Yeah, fuck it, we'll go with that.
Approved by Bob Shea.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is saying there's good kills in the movie or what, but how do you get past that ending though, man? Like, I just don't. The only thing I think about when I think about that movie anymore is that tiny little miniature Pennywise being shouted out by a group of kids.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't. But anyway, back to the idea of this series though.
Mm-hmm.
I told you before, like I'm really done with any kind of franchise shit. Like I even if they came out with a new movie, I wouldn't give a shit, and I definitely don't give a shit about this. Although, and this all kind of ties together for some real reason. Does anybody remember the actual Exorcist series that they came out with? I think it was for like 2 seasons.
Was it Legacy or something like that?
I mean, I have to look it up because I'm not entirely sure, but they had an actual series not too long ago that nobody watched. It went away in 2 seasons, but
was Gina Davis in it?
2016. So from 2016 to 2017.
I remember that. Yeah, I didn't watch it though.
I hadn't either until like recently when all this stuff started, and I watched like the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
This actually is not like a bad series as opposed to all the other shit like related to The Exorcist. Like this is fairly decent, but it's just nobody cared.
Okay.
So
what was their take on that? Like, what was the approach?
The approach was just like a bunch of like 2 priests, kind of like Supernatural in a way, just dealing with like demonic cases of possession, like running around.
Gotcha.
And they're targeting different people. And I think most of it, like in the first episode anyway, was like taking place at a foster home. And so, yeah, it wasn't horrible. I'll say that.
Okay.
It was on Fox. Okay. I didn't know what it was on.
Oh, well, enough said with that network.
But the reason, like you were asking, the reason they're doing Welcome to Derry is because not just because those films were successful, however people feel, they made a lot of money, the It films, but also Stranger Things, because this is going to showcase a lot of kids on a show. I don't know how many episodes it'll be, but Stranger Things, they want to have a bit of that put into it as well. And that's successful for Netflix. So whoever, I forget what network's doing Welcome to Derry, but that's what they want, their Stranger Things money.
So yeah, a couple of people have actually seen it. Okay. How many seasons did it run, Prebman? It ran 2 seasons, I'm pretty sure. Which is amazing because nobody had ever heard of it. Like I hadn't even heard of it. And it was on for 2 seasons. So all right. But what do you got, Matt?
Well, the first thing I'll mention is since I'm a big fan of this guy, Stallone, I guess, is still in his midlife crisis because he wants to do a Cliffhanger 2, even though it's a reboot, but it's a sequel.
No, let's not do that.
And to get the director of, I don't know if anyone remembers this movie, Snitch, with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, where he's like the truck driver.
Yep.
And he's trying to save his son. And he also did like one of those Gerard Butler I think Angel Has Fallen, like one of those movies. The last one, the third one.
This is the Rennie Harlan episode, basically.
Oh, God.
they couldn't get him back because, like, I know he's doing the Strangers reboot. So there's another thing to look out for, everybody.
But yeah,
This is another one where I'm like, who the fuck was asking for Cliffhanger 2? Like, did anybody even like remember that movie?
that's one of my favorites.
It's a great movie, but like,
Yeah.
I'm the audience and I'm saying no one wants it. Like, I'm the audience. I got a Stallone poster. I love Cliffhanger is one of my favorite 90s movies, and even I'm going, no. Stallone is like 76 years old. He's either going to be in a tower on a phone talking to some jamoke like Jason Mamma or someone else who stars in it, or it's going to be, why do you want a 70-year-old guy running around the mountains? I would feel bad and worry for his health. It's a reboot, but it's a sequel, so it doesn't even know what it wants to be. How your sequel be a reboot? No one's asking for it. No one wants it, but that's what they do. They make stuff that no one wants, and the stuff that do wants, they don't make. Like Exorcist, believe. Believe. Sound like a sheep. Bleed, or goat or something. Just be like Matt Hardy. Delete all of this. How about that? We don't need a Cliffhanger 2. A long time ago, there was talks of a script called The Dam, where it was take place in the Hoover Dam. It was going to take like a few years, like maybe 4 years after the first film.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in their prime, but no, Stallone.
I
really
really
don't. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't want to watch Stallone in anything anymore. Really, like, he's had so much plastic surgery and shit done that he looks like that his face is just like paper clipped. He's like pulled back and like tied behind his fucking head or something. And that's not to mention the fact that he's apparently become a giant douche. Like, he just, I don't know, like all those years of being on top or whatever, he's just kind of a dickhead now, from what I can gather. There was a story that came out recently too, where Dolph Lundgren was talking about how he wanted to like knock him out.
I read that.
Do you see that on the set?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was like,
Expendables.
yeah, because he was dressing him down and all that shit in front of a bunch of people and like, yeah. But everything I've seen or heard about that guy, like in at least the last 10 years, has not been good, not been favorable towards him anyway. And then he had that whole thing where he was like, you know, against all the Creed movies and shit, and he wanted like that producer to die and yada yada yada. And
Erwin Winkler.
Yeah. And he said that should be passed down to his family and whatnot. And I don't know, man. I've had enough of Stallone for a while. I feel like at this point, like, he had a good run. He had a really good run.
Yeah.
Like
Legendary.
70s, 80s, 90s. I mean,
and the thing is, I've seen him on the show he was doing called Tulsa King. That's where he works. That's actually a pretty decent show. Just stick with that. It's about your acting. He's a mob guy that's sent to this pole down. I think it was in Nevada, or I forget the state. But it's like, and he's trying to get this mob business put together. Just go with that. The reason he's doing this is the reason why he did a Rambo 5 before, and he did all these other stuff, is because he wants to hope to be relevant. And in his eyes, being relevant is to be in a movie theater. Yeah, it happened back in the day when his career was dying from the 90s to 2000s. Even some films I liked, they were not doing well. So he was doing straight to video crap like Avenging Angelo, for all two of you that remember that. I think Madeline Style. And then he did Rocky Balboa and Rambo 4, which were great. Then the Expendables. But then he did Escape Plan, Grudge Match with Robert De Niro, where they're having fart jokes, and Kevin Hart's. And it dwindled down. And same thing here. I mean, you look at his recent movies, they have not been good. Try to get back with the Rambo 5. Enough less said of that, the better. And that's part of my username. And even I think that film sucks. A bunch of douches. Stallone, you had a great run, man. Just talk about movies and, do documentaries and stuff, or do character work. If you don't act, be like Nicolas Cage. Take weird chances. Some may bomb, but at least do like I'm not saying do Willy's Wonderland, but do like a crazy movie like that and surprise people. Not nostalgia to try it in the theaters to remain relevant. You've had a good run.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get dragged off the stage, walk off.
I mean, I really agree with that too. At this point in his life, like I don't think he should be trying to do action films. Like it's the same thing with Harrison Ford, and we talked about this last time. Like I just don't. These guys don't need. Harrison Ford's 80 years old, man. He's legitimately 80 years old. He doesn't need to be doing any more like Indiana Jones movies at this point. So it's become like, what was the movie where it was like Rambo? Wasn't it Back to the Future where it had like Rambo 20 something or something like that, and it had a picture of him like
I think it was
one
I saw was Airplane 2. Airplane 2, the sequel,
that
like
was
in the
it.
future,
Yeah,
like Rocky 15. And it's like a guy with like Pat Morita or something.
Yeah.
On the poster.
That's what we're getting to at this point. Yeah. But speaking of Nicolas Cage, though, I actually watched Renfield. Legitimately, of course. Yeah, I went to the movies and saw it. And it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't like it was 1,000 times better than Scream 6. I told you. It was also 1,000 times better than Evil Dead Rise. I can guarantee you that if you watch it, you'll like it better than either one of those movies. But something about it. I mean, Nicolas Cage is amazing in it, but there's something about it that's a little bit too like, I don't know. It kind of reminded me of another movie that guy was in, Warm Bodies.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a little too like that, like romantic comedy-ish. I don't know how to explain it. Like they could have gone.
Where does the romance come into play? Isn't it like about Dracula and Renfield? Like,
yeah, it is kind of about that. I don't know how to explain it. Like, so Renfield, the only thing that he wants is to like be free, live independently, and have his own like life and girlfriend and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so in the movie, he kind of splits with Dracula, gets his own place, like his own apartment and stuff. Okay. And he sets it up like it's like super, I don't know how to say it, but like super feminine, like, because he's always had to wear like black and gray and all this stuff. So now he's wearing like neon colors, and his place is like, you know, super pastel colored and all this and that. And it's just about him trying to like, the second part of the movie is about him trying to like find himself and it is just, I don't know. It's a little too corny, I guess, in the middle towards the end too. And then they got this whole mafia subplot to it where they get like Dracula gets involved with the mafia. So it gets a little bit too fucking silly, I think. And maybe a little too, you'll see when you, if you ever do watch it or whatever. I mean, Nicolas Cage, like I said, 100% like great in it, does a amazing job, but just the movie premise itself, I think, had a lot of holes in it.
How was the other actor who played Renfield?
I love that guy. I think I forget his name, but he was great in this. Yeah, he was great in The Menu. He was great in Warm Bodies, even though that movie sucks in a way. But like, I mean, everything I've seen that guy in, he's been good in. That's another part of it too. Fuck, I forgot about that. Thank you, Gunman Production. Aquafina. For no apparent fucking reason, she's the love interest to Renfield, and she fucking sucks, man. Like, just in general, I hate her face, and like she cannot act. I just hate the fucking way she looks. Like, just in general, I don't ever want to watch anything with her in it. Like, she looks like one of them fucking lizards that can look like this way and that way at the same. You know what I mean? Like their eyes rotate around the side of their head.
Yeah.
So she's the Exorcist. She's one of the Blair. Just spit over her fucking head. I know who you're talking about. I've seen her and stuff. That review, Shang-Chi. She was like the unfunny comic relief. Because that was a
she is also the unfunny comic relief in this as well, by the way.
Yeah,
She's the love interest / unfunny comic relief. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's played seriously. So like the Renfield character is played serious up until probably like almost near the end. Of course, Nicolas Cage is playing it serious. The mob characters are serious, but just kind of like goofy. But Awkwafina's character is like she's a cop. And she is kind of like the comic relief. She's like, I don't know.
She's
It's
cop.
just
Yeah, by that. This is like by Rob Schneider as a cop. Yeah, okay. Okay.
I mean, I don't know, Chris C, if I would say that Nicolas Cage's performance is on par with Bela Lugosi's, but it's very good. I will say that for sure.
Well, didn't it? It didn't do well, right? Didn't it bomb?
No, it bombed. It fucking shit all over the bed.
But then Evil Dead Rise made like over 100
because it
million.
was released at exactly the same time as Evil Dead Rise, and everybody went and saw that turd rather than going to see like, yeah.
Man.
A Gunman Production says Renfield had some good practical effects. It really does too. It has like great like gore effects. Forgot about that part.
That's cool.
Nicolas Cage gave a solid performance. However, Nicolas Cage seemed like he had the same amount of screen time as Christopher Lee. Yeah, it's another thing. There's not enough Nicolas Cage. There's a lot of Awkwafina and not enough fucking Nicolas Cage. I'll just go ahead and tell you.
Oh, man.
But anyway, fucking shameful on that. So, does anybody want to talk about? I don't know which one of these next ones I want to talk about less. They both make me angry. All right. Which one is more exciting to you all?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that there is a new Blair Witch Project movie coming out? Which, I mean, at this point, there was one that came out like 2 or 3 years ago that I don't even like. I've never watched.
Me neither.
And never will.
I saw it.
Or the fact that there's a new Beetlejuice movie coming out with Jenna Ortega, which apparently they're going to put Jenna Ortega's ass in everything now that she was in Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Which one do we start?
Me and Matt touched on this a little bit. So Michael Keaton's 71, right, Matt? I think that's what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, he's 71 years old. He's starring, and Tim Burton's directing, and Tim Burton liked working with Jenna Ortega on Wednesdays, so that's why he's casting her. And maybe Winona Ryder will be in it. Maybe Beetlejuice 2, Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. Yeah, I look forward to that.
It could happen.
Well, part of the rumor mill is that they're getting pretty much everybody else back. I saw Gina Davis is in question, as well as a few others, Catherine O'Hara, people like that. So my thing, the film is always
going to shoot someone on this movie,
dude. Oddly enough, he's the one person that I didn't see like in like.
I wonder why.
Exactly. I don't think they want to go there.
You bring him in, you don't need a bodyguard.
Oh God.
For us, not for him.
But yeah, the first movie, there's some cool stuff in it for sure. I like the movie. A lot of it lives and dies on that performance from Michael Keaton. Yes. I mean, if your title of your film is called Beetlejuice, you better fucking deliver with that character. And let's be honest, he'll be like 72, 73 or whatever by the time it comes out. Is he really going to be able to go back to that place again at that age? I don't see that happening. I don't think so. Tim Burton's burned us so many times, like in the past decade. I can't even count. I don't have any faith in this. And as for Blair Witch, talk about like utterly pointless. The first movie it's almost disrespectful to call it a fluke, but it kind of was with the marketing and all that stuff. Smart the way they did it, but I mean, that's you can't. Lightning will not strike in the same place twice, so that's not going to work. Nobody saw the last one. I don't hear anybody talking about the last one that came out.
Listen, I want you to get ready because this is going to blow your fucking skirt up right here, Mark. This synopsis for this, get ready for it.
I'm ready.
British filmmaker Oliver Park, that did The Offering, has apparently been hired to direct the untitled Blair Witch Project sequel. In addition, the project is reportedly targeting a late summer fall film shoot with the original film production company, Haxon Films, attached with both Daniel Myrick and Eduardo Sanchez Jr., the third, being in the production.
A sequel to the 99 film? Like the first one?
Oh, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, that's all the rage now, of course.
Okay. So, essentially, they're going to skip over Blair Witch 2, and then they're going to skip over that other Blair Witch remake, and then the other reboot, or whatever the fuck that was, and just say that this is a sequel to the original Blair Witch project. Kind of like, I guess, what is going on with Halloween and all that shit. That's kind of what they want to do with this.
Terminator. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. Nobody gives a shit about Blair Witch anymore. Like,
that's what I mean.
They just don't.
I don't. Good luck.
Yeah, like try to have a marketing campaign for the fucking Blair Witch Project at this point.
Yeah,
like it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry, but I know we're all really looking forward to it. It should be a good time.
Any thoughts, Rambo?
Yeah. Well, before the Beetlejuice 2,
yeah,
I don't think it will work. Number one, Michael Keaton's a great actor. I don't until it proven wrong, I don't think he can do it. If he proves me wrong, I'll admit it. But I've seen the TV spots of him playing Batman, and oh boy, just saying, "You want to get nuts?" as a catchphrase. Yeah. If that's in any way they approach, and then I've seen that type of stuff before where I like Dumb and Dumber, and then I saw Jim Carrey play that role many decades later at Dumb and Dumber 2.
Yep.
To me, it was a total 180. It did not fit. And that's like and then like Tim Burton. I did see like the first couple episodes of Wednesday. I didn't mind it. But the stuff he's directed, movie-wise, not too great.
It's okay that you brought that up, Rambo. Let's go, because I brought up his IMDb page. Let's go through the last, like, I don't know, 10 films that he's made.
Sure.
We've got, let's just start here and kind of work our way backwards.
Sure.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This is 2005. Corpse Bride. Sweeney Todd, which depending on who you are, that's either great or awful.
I like Sweeney Todd.
Alice in Wonderland. If anybody says that they fucking like Alice in Wonderland, I'll smack the shit out of one of them. Dark Shadows. If anybody fucking brings up Dark Shadows, they like that, I'm going to kill you.
It's not that bad.
Shut up. No.
It's that bad.
It is that bad, Mark.
No, I'm just joking because like that's what you always say about,
about
Dracula 3D.
It's not that bad. It's really like a lot better than Dark Shadows, I'm telling you. Frankenweenie. My kids love that movie.
It's okay.
Big Eyes. What in the fuck is Big Eyes? Never even heard of it. Okay. Miss Peregrine's
45
Center for Regular Children or something like that. Dumbo. And then he hadn't done anything for 3 years until Wednesday after Dumbo. So Dumbo was 2019, and then he did Wednesday.
And Michael Keaton was in Dumbo as well.
Yeah, that's pretty.
With Danny DeVito.
Now, prior to that, if you don't count Planet of the Apes, he did Sleepy Hollow, Mars Attacks, which I love, Ed Wood, which is amazing, Batman Returns, which is amazing, Edward Scissorhands, Batman, Beetlejuice. I mean, like Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Like there's a whole fucking 7, 8 movies there that are classics, and then he churns out like 10 shit storms. Like I don't understand it, but that's where we're at.
It was that Planet of the Apes movie. That's when it started, man. It was so awful. Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch ruined him.
Yep. He's
With
out there
Abe
doing
Lincoln
Gap
Ape.
commercials.
Feel it, just feeling on the set of Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out, Matt. He's asking what happened to Tim.
Let's see. We got a super chat here that says, Carter says the worst thing about the Blair Witch sequels is it takes away from the ambiguity of the original.
Yeah.
You can make that case the witch doesn't even exist. Yeah, that's true.
That's a great point.
And yeah, I mean, as for Blair Witch, I love the original. I saw that on VHS, did not know anything about the backstory, didn't even have the internet back then, so I couldn't get into the hype. I just saw like a review of Siskel and Ebert and like a couple TV spots, and I loved it. And then Butcher Shell's Blair Witch 2, I'm like, okay, they're doing something different, but at the same time, the execution and all the behind the scenes shenanigans didn't help. And I sadly did see Blair Witch, and all Blair Witch 2016 was just called Blair Witch, so that's how creative they were. It was a louder, more jump scare version of the original. It was pretty much a remake, even to the point at the end they're in a house and people look at the corner. Only you do see, I don't know if it was a witch or what it was, like a CGI turd monster looking. I don't know what it was. It looked like a female turd monster. I don't know what to tell you. You blink and you miss it. And yeah, they explain like, well, you have to look in the corner or you'll die, and all this other stuff, and have more jump scares and loud noises and no subtlety, no ambiguity, lackluster cast. That was trying to be a sequel to the first one because apparently the lead guy was supposed to be Heather's brother, and they did nothing with that, nothing ever came of that. It was just, again, they get lost in the woods, they go in a circle. They follow the same beats like a lot of these sequels, but they're reboots, remakes. And yeah, there's a reason. And that's the thing. You guys, Blair Witch Project came out, and right off the bat, it was a 50-50 split. People liked it or hated it. When you're making new stuff now, the people who liked it only want the one movie. And then there's a good portion that don't want anymore. They didn't like it. They hated it. So who are you making it for? You either make it for people that only wanted one movie or for people that don't want to see anymore and they hate the hell out of it. That's why people don't even talk about the original film in the way other, even like Scream or other movies. There's no big special editions of the movie. There's no big bells and whistles releases. There's no fondness that people talk about with nostalgia, except a little 1 or 2 or 3 people online that talk about they like it. It doesn't have a fondness and nostalgia. They even did a video game that did nothing, and they came out a few years ago. So the fact they're doing a sequel made zero sense. It's going to bomb again because everything after that 99 film has bombed repeatedly. Mm-hmm. It's just, what's insanity? You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And all people remember is, well, that movie sucks because I could have made that film. That's like it's not even 50-50. I would say it's like almost 70-30, where 70% hate it, and you only get a smattering people that like the original. So you're making for the 30% of people who only like the original and they don't want to see anymore because of what Carter didn't say. They like the ambiguity, they like the simpleness, they like it was lightning in a bottle, like you said, Mark, and you can't repeat it. And I've seen hundreds of found footage movies. There's a handful that are decent and a lot more that are bad, and that goes to show you it's not as easy as people think. Blair Witch Project, I think, has a lot of good notes to it. I could go on an hour why I enjoy the film, and if I would bore people and all that. So it's a stupid idea. It makes no sense. They don't lose money. I'm glad. Just give the money to us, or burn it or something.
It'd be awesome. They just gave us the money. Yeah, it'd be the same effect, really. Yeah, because it's not.
Sorry, I went on that rank tangent, but it's ridiculous.
It's just that title. It's kind of like Saw now. Saw films,
Mhm.
those titles don't have any effect on people anymore. Like you try to throw up, I don't give a fuck what it is, if it's a sequel, a prequel, a reboot, a franchise. Like if you just put up a new movie that either has Saw or Blair Witch in it, people automatically are like bored tears just even like thinking about watching it. Like it's just not going to work anymore. That's over with, and they need to fucking stop.
So,
Mhm.
are you
Go ahead.
making an early prediction that Saw X will bomb at the box office?
At this, I'm going to get to this later, Mark, because this is one of the things I was going to talk
Okay.
about that I told you I was going to talk about. But no, I'm not going to predict that movie is going to bomb.
Mm.
And you have to stay tuned until the end of the show to find out why I'm not going to predict
Okay.
that. Bobby Reynolds always got a super chat. He says, "What if someone made a fan club of you guys? You mean like a fan club of each one of us separately, or like a fan club of this show in particularly, a fan club of all three of us together?" I mean, there's a lot of possibilities there. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, sure.
And somebody asked if it has perks, like if the fan club would have perks. Yeah, we'll send you stickers and some pins and shit like Scream Factory does.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, he said does the fan club have pervs? There might be pervs on there too, but
Pervs.
don't
It will
keep that-
probably
don't
have
keep that
pervs,
quiet.
yeah. More than likely.
I
Oh
wonder
yeah.
if there are like hardcore quiet fans of Dead Pit, and they like make stories of you two like kissing and stuff. Like you see all those stuff, like they write like Captain Kirk and Spock,
Like fan
69
fiction.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder it's like Dead / Pit or something. Dead X Pit. Dead / Pit.
That would actually be amazing if that existed, if somebody like actually did that.
And the Dungeon of Doom.
Oh God. Let's see. Chase has a question. What is your favorite and least favorite Tim Burton film? Well, I know what my least favorite is.
What is it?
Dark Shadows. Like I saw that movie in the theater and I wanted to fucking stab myself.
Any one of the three of Alice in Wonderland, Dark Shadows, fucking Willy Wonka. So, favorite, I would say the Batman movies, but if I'm going for something that is not necessarily his creation, but more of his vision, I'll say either Ed Wood or Edward Scissorhands. One of the two. I mean, by definition, when you look at something like Edward Scissorhands, that movie shouldn't work. Mm-hmm. His hands are scissors. You know what I mean? Right. Like on paper, I couldn't even imagine what the studio thought reading the script. They're like, what the fuck is this? Like, but it works. I mean, everything about it has so much individuality and like the characters and all the different colors he used and how dark the Johnny Depp character is. That was kind of the start of all that. So probably that one for me.
I really do like Sleepy Hollow, but I would put Ed Wood as my favorite, although I really do like Sleepy Hollow. So that's next to there. And worst, I'll say Planet of the Apes. Helena Bonham Carter as an ape.
I mean,
with the pussy faces.
That was the best part, dude.
Marky Mark.
He's not wrong, really. Yeah, so
bunch.
Dark Shadows for me, because I actually loved the series, like the original Dark Shadows series. Like I had seen a lot of those. I don't think I've seen all of them. I'm not sure if anybody's seen all of them unless you're like an Uber fan. There's like 1,000, 2,000 of those episodes. But Dark Shadows the worst. Probably the best for me would either be Batman Returns, which I think is insanely good, or maybe Pee-wee. Like that's one that I watched like 8 million times when I was a kid. So I don't know. One of those two. So Wes is wanting me to remind everybody that on the 13th, coming up on the 13th at 10 o'clock, we've got a special fan commentary that anyone's a patron can join of Hail of the Living Dead, one of the worst damn zombie movies ever made. Feel free to join that, either one of y'all, if you want to join it. it's going to be awful. Bruno Mattei directed it, so it's bound to be hideous. If you're a patron on here, feel free to try to join that, and we'll see how many people we can get on there.
I'll take that over Survival of the Dead.
Yes, I will too. Thank fucking God.
I love Romero, but man, those last couple movies were so awful.
I swear to God, though, man, I'm going to ask Slippy about that damn shit every single time I talk to him until he does something with that. It pisses me off to some degree or another that he's got like interviews with Romero of every single movie that man has ever directed, talking about them, and it won't do anything with them. He just like got him at his house. It's like, man, you know how many people would love to hear that shit? Like,
he said, like did he say he was waiting for the right time or something?
He said he wanted to do it to where it was like something for the Garf Foundation. Like, I don't know exactly what he's going to, like how he would do it or whatever, but I just don't understand, man. That motherfucker needs to release that stuff.
I say you and CK do a handicap steel cage match for those tapes.
Yeah.
And you just put them out on Dead Pit. That's what I think should happen.
If I could figure out a way to hack into his computer, man, that would be the greatest thing ever. I'd steal all that stuff. So a lot of people are saying Planet of the Apes or Willy Wonka are their least favorite. So I can see that. Charlie and Chocolate Factory, it's pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Was Survival of the Dead his last film? Chris asked. Yes. Unfortunately, that was his last film. What a way to go out on that career.
Yeah.
Zombie horses.
So what else y'all got? If anything.
Yeah, I'll mention because you mentioned this before on the first episode of this, the Five Nights at Freddy's film.
Oh yeah.
And a funny bit where the trailer was leaked, but then it got taken down. I just found the story interesting where the leaker, he made a response apologizing, saying like he did it for clout, because apparently this is a thing now where I guess studios somehow are getting in touch with random people to go to a random website and watch a trailer and take a survey on the trailer, I guess, to judge how it works, how it doesn't work in terms of marketing. But the thing is, you're supposed to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So he signed that, but then he just let it out, like on his phone, like this small, so you can't even see it. And everybody roasted him and completely obliterated him to the point that he made a response with his face and everything, saying it was like the fakest apology. It was like one of those, okay, yeah, you're sorry you got caught. You're not sorry about it. And he's like, I tried to do it for views and clout. And not that I care about Five Nights at Freddy's, but just like it's this weird thing about the world. It's well, I can't be surprised that people will do the dumbest, idiotic Darwinism things for clout and views and stuff. And it's just, how many times can you really do that and make it stick? It works out for the best.
If you like to fucking, well, I'm not going to say that. There's like 50 channels I can think of right now that do shit like that all the time, Matt.
That's true.
So it's like, I mean.
And I wanted to ask, have you or CK, did you ever have to do some non-disclosure agreement for anything throughout your work on Dead Pit or stuff?
That's a really good question.
That is a good question.
Something like you can't talk about it later?
The only thing that I can even remember that we signed anything would be that for that fucking documentary. And I don't know if you looked at the for everybody listening on here too, like if you've been on our Instagram, it's not a secret or anything that we now like own the rights to release that documentary. And so we've got all the copies of that documentary now. Not exactly sure what the hell we're going to do with them yet, but we do own it, and there was an agreement with that. I know, and specifically there was an agreement just with the artwork. So the guy that did the artwork was a pretty famous artist that did. I think he did the Bad News Bears. He did Detroit Rock City. I know that for
I was
certain.
going to say that.
Yeah,
It looks very similar.
and he did the artwork for our documentary. And basically, like, I won't say he's the worst part of like that whole situation, but he has like an ironclad thing where we can't do anything with that artwork other than a certain amount of copies. So if we sell more, he basically authorized us to use this X amount of copies of his artwork on this documentary, and we can't use anything else after that. And if we do, we get into trouble. So what we've got left is what we've got left. And after that, we're not allowed to repress any of that shit unless we change the artwork or something like that, which we ain't going to fucking do. So yeah, just a side note on that. It's a weird world of like, when you get into this stuff, anything like that, like there's so many different levels of bullshit that like this person has this like agreement, this person has this agreement, and then XY gets this percent or whatever. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. That's wild. I had no idea like that was the situation. I thought like you guys were just showcasing that and there's going to be another box just like that in another few weeks when you guys sell out or something. Wow.
Well,
when you guys did, go ahead.
Oh, but what I'm saying is we've got all the remaining copies of the DVDs. And once those are gone, that's it, because we can't ever press the artwork. So it's like, unless you want to bootleg them or something, I mean, that's about all you could do after that, I think. Oh, so Wes says we own the remaining copies of the DVDs, no rights or anything. Well, same fucking different. Like, I mean, what I'm saying is nobody else is going to ever reprint those things.
So
I was just going to ask, did you guys ever have to sign anything for when you did those commentaries that were never released, the Friday the 13th Paramount, like part 5? Because you did that with
no, we never even got to that point. Oh shit.
Oh, okay.
I accidentally clicked on that. No, we never got to that point or anything like that. If you can think of anything else, like that's the only thing I can think of that we ever had to like sign any kind of contract or anything for.
Well, probably a different one.
Even
Cool Dude.
Well, that wasn't. Listen, there wasn't no contracts. It was just like fucking get a lawyer kind of thing. Send him some shit, and his lawyer sends us some shit. Also, I like to take this brief period of time, just to say fuck him and everybody he knows. But real quick after that though, there were some times, even the stuff like with Madman, where we got on the Vinegar Syndrome disc and all that, and some other times we've got another disc. I don't think we signed anything. I think it was just like, you know, you can use this, and they're like, all right, and like that was it. I mean, we don't get anything for any of that other than kind of for it to be on there, I guess.
You guys were at least like credited, right?
Well, that's the funny thing about it. On the Vinegar Syndrome thing, I think we're credited. Somebody can look on there and let me know. There's one of them where we're not, though, and I think it's one of the Scream Factory ones. It might be the interview we did with Chuck Selye that's on the Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Okay.
There's the audio interview we did. I'm not sure we're credited on that. I don't think we are, because I just remember it pissed Wes off. So
rightfully so,
mad.
though.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, that's fucking right. Yeah. So the other time that we got sued, apparently we had to sign an agreement, but we'll talk about that on a shoot apparently later on.
I can't wait for that, by the way.
Oh, how many times did we get sued? Twice, 3 times? A couple times. Anyway.
It happens to the best of us.
Jack Frost wants to know, and this is open for anybody, do you prefer Phantasm or Phantasm 2? Also, when do you think we can expect the Phantasm remake produced by Michael Bay?
The first one for me. I mean, I love the first one so much. It's just, I mean, I don't think there's any bad scenes in the movie. I mean, I could watch it front to back all day. It's great.
I kind of agree with you. I also kind of think, to me, the perfect equation for those movies are Terminator and Terminator 2. Like, Phantasm is just kind of like a standalone, kind of weird, quirky kind of film. And then Phantasm 2 is like a straight up, like balls to the wall action film, really, with just some horror elements and stuff like that in it. What do you think, man?
I go with Phantasm 2. I think I'm a sucker for action. I like the blend of action and horror, and it definitely felt a bit more like an action movie. So I'm a sucker for that. I love horror. Action's my favorite genre. So I love the whole shotgun bits with Reggie and all that stuff.
That was a great idea. A lot better idea than the fucking boomerang frisbee thing that they had in part 3, which was awful. Had razors on it or whatever. Like, damn it. You just know they were like, well, we had the really cool gun in part 2. We got to come up with something else. Like, oh, I know. A frisbee with razors on it. That's a good idea. Anyway.
Oh, and the other part of the question, hopefully we never get a reboot, remake. No, Don Coscarelli has all the rights and everything, right?
Yeah, he does.
Okay, good.
I know he does to at least like the first film. The second film, I'm kind of iffy about that one because wasn't that owned by like a studio, like a pretty what the fuck studio?
I think that might have been a studio production.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the studio was.
2, I think it was Universal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if he owns that one or not. I know he owns 1, probably definitely 4, because that one looks like it was, self-financed anyway. I'm not sure about 2 and 3. Anywho. So I was going to talk to you about this. So somebody had brought this up. Okay, Phantasm 2 and 3 were Universal, let's just say.
Okay.
And then he lost, I guess, the deal with Universal after that. And he did 4 and Ravager, which I wish he wouldn't have. Like 4 was great. Ravager, not so much. So Wes is saying he owns all of them now. Which would be if that's the case, then they'll probably never do a reboot.
Well, as long as he's alive anyway.
Exactly.
It's like the Bob Gale and the Zemeckis thing with Back to the Future.
Yep. So somebody brought up on I don't know if you guys ever watched Red Letter Media, but they had brought this up, and I thought this is actually true, and I hadn't really ever thought about it this way. But they were talking about how we're in the age again of basically 2005. So, and by that, what they mean is back in 2005, and I remember this era clearly because that's when we started doing the show and everything, there were a shit ton of like mid-budget horror films that came out like all the time. So between 2005 to probably like past 2010, this was going on. And, these movies always sort of seem to turn a profit. And then the Marvel and DC Universe shit came along, and all the budgets to all these movies were up in like the hundreds, millions, and everything was about calculating risk. We'll do this overseas and we'll make like $1 billion so we can afford to spend $250 million on this movie and whatever. So that pushed out all these other lower kind of budget films. So you either had like really indie films or like really, really expensive films, and all those middle. That's why you never saw those horror films like you did like at that time period. they all kind of went away because there was no market for them. But now they're theorizing, and I'm kind of seeing this, that like that market is coming back, like with Evil Dead Rise, all these movies that are making like, you know, over $100 million, but they're done with nobody that anybody knows on a, you know, fairly decent budget, you know, middle card kind of budget between 30 to $50 million. Sometimes less than that, sometimes in the 20s. And like, it's like going back to that time period. Now I have like fond memories and horrible memories about that time period, but I just wanted to ask you guys like what you thought about that idea. Like, what if it goes back to where there's a shit ton of movies like that coming out, but they're all like kind of, you know, those mid-grade kind of horror films, or any kind of films for that matter.
Go ahead, Rambo. I'll let you take it.
I mean, if they're worth a shit, it'd be fine. But
well, that was the problem back in those early 2000s. Like, yeah.
I mean, if it's like a bunch of barbarians and a bunch of, I mean, not Barbarian Brothers, but the movie Barbarian. Like, if it's just a bunch of them and stuff, it's like I could see that happening with the A24 and all these other companies, Blumhouse. That's kind of their forte, is to have those medium-sized budgets and have a bit of whether marketing and now their past history with their releases, whether it be A24 having a film that won an Oscar, Blumhouse having franchise become successful. How do you feel about the new Halloween films? They were made for not the most amount of money, and they made a ton of money. Yeah, you don't see a lot more of that. It's just, it's cool. You have more opportunities because hopefully a gem will be hiding on there somewhere. And a lot of people enjoy these movies, so it's fun times for them. But for me, if it means I gotta sit through a lot more crap, I don't look forward to it. I don't need any more Beau is Afraids. Okay, I don't need any more of those. Because I saw that, and that was
Beau is Afraid was amazing, Rambo. I don't know what the deal is with that. What you have with that film?
Yeah, I love the Jabba the Hutt penis monster.
I'm just kidding. I haven't seen it, and probably never will. I don't want to waste that period of my life. But no,
if you want to see Joaquin Phoenix, sad for an hour, and then go up and add it to see a Jabba the Hutt penis monster, you'd be my guess.
You can't, just the idea of a Jabba the Hutt penis monster is kind of like I don't know, something about that idea. Yeah, it's enticing. So
go for it.
I kind of like that era and the era that we're in right now better than the era of like the Marvel and DC and like franchise era, because I really never ever went to the movies during that era. Like that whole time period, man, from like let's say 2012 to like 2019 or something like that. Like that was just dominated by those kinds of movies, and I never ever like went out and watched any of those movies. Like I fucking just didn't. And so now I kind of look back fondly at shit that was like out at that early time period that I kind of shit on before, like House of Wax. Like I'd rather watch a movie like House of Wax, the remake, now than I ever would watch like fucking A Long Way Home or whatever that fucking Spider-Man movie is called, or Homecoming, No Way Home. Yeah. I just would rather watch lower budget practical effects style films like they're making than I would those bloated ass Marvel movies and Disney movies and DC movies.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I mean, hopefully this does lead us to something good. I think we'll always be in the rut of Sorry, I'm reading wet movies.
Yeah, I was just gonna put it up there for you.
That's hilarious. I lost my train of thought now.
Sorry, I should not have like highlighted that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the studios will always want the next franchise. I don't think that'll ever go away. But at least if we get the one good first movie out of it, that's something at least. I'd rather see original stuff all day long over another sequel, prequel, requel, reboot, remake. I'm just done with that. I think every horror fan is, and we have been for the last decade or more even. Like Rambo said, there's always going to be more shit to watch, unfortunately. You just have to weed through it and hope you find something
Like
good.
Bo's Afraid.
I need to watch
Fuck
that now.
movie, by the way.
You've been
Fuck
talking
that
about it so
stupid
much. I
Artsy
need to see it
fartsy,
now.
smelling its own farts type of movie. It's not for me. And Scream 666, like the Devils made that movie. Just, I'm sure you did Rise in their classic Barbarian. I wish that starred the Barbarian Brothers. Maybe it would have been a better movie if it was the
Holy
Barbarian
shit.
Brothers going up against that crazy.
Let's talk about the Barbarian
lady.
Brothers for a second because that was an awesome time. I just watched the Barbarians with the actual the kind of Conan ripoff. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. It's not a bad movie. Think Big. It's fine. It's a fine movie. The one where they're like twins, one's a cop and one's a criminal. That one's not great though. I tried to watch that one. It's not.
They're like Double Trouble or Twin Sitters or something.
What was that one? Was it Double Trouble?
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't the greatest. But yeah, the Barbarian Brothers were great. One of them died. The other one's still alive. That freaks me out. I don't know why. That's just like, they're fucking identical twins. It's just odd to me. But anyway.
Yeah.
Love that time period of film.
Sorry, Matt. I know you're a big Ari Aster fan. I'm going to check it out. I like, actually, Matt and Matt, both of you guys have good taste in movies, so I'm kind of torn. I'm going to have to watch it now.
So there's a couple people saying it was their favorite theater experience. Oh, God. I'll never watch
Barbarian
that movie.
Brothers.
I mean, I'll just go ahead and tell you, I'll never see that movie. It's just
I'll watch it for you, Uncle Bill.
Yeah, you let me know because I just can't.
Joaquin Phoenix being sad and mopey with mommy issues for like half the movie, and then Nathan Lane's in there, and then whatever the hell. Damn Ari Aster.
Hey, Lord.
3 hours bullshit.
Mad. What the fuck? I don't want to fucking waste 3 hours of my goddamn life watching something that I know is an experimental film that I'm probably not going to like.
It could be the best 3 hours of your life.
It could be. I mean, I don't know. So I don't know. See, normally though, I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, I trust Matt because like he and I seem to have a pretty similar kind of like taste in films and stuff like that. So I don't know.
You did like Hereditary, Midsommar, so you might like this more than me.
Yeah.
But 3 hours, maybe watch it at home or something where you can fast forward or pause or take 18 potty breaks because the movie's got to be 3 hours because every movie has to be 3 hours. Probably the Exorcist Believer was 3 hours. That's why it was too long and not scary. Yeah, Garrett, we're on in a steel cage match. Me and Uncle Bill and Stomach Mark is going to turn on us, and it's going to be a tag team. Mark's going to. Is that talking about Mark? So Mark's going to be with Garrett, and it'll be like double.
I'm neutral. I'll just
blue
be the ref. Cage. I'll be the ref.
It'd be like Jim Cornette. You have like a tennis racket or something, or maybe one of those 18 Blu-rays that you have.
I'll have some kind of equalizer on hand.
He brings in a steel book and fucking beats everybody with it. All right, this is a good question though. Nobody's really ever asked us this. What are your thoughts on Joaquin Phoenix as an actor?
Great actor. Got no issues with him. I think I was probably the biggest non-believer of Joker being any good before I had actually seen it because I'm like, what's the point of the character not being in a movie with Batman? I still don't agree with like the whole story arc and everything, but that's neither here nor there because he gave a great performance. So, yeah. And other movies like The Master and I mean, countless other movies. I think he's a great actor.
Yeah, he ain't bad. He's fine.
Yeah, there are times he tries to get so method that he becomes pretty douchey. What was that movie that he was on talk shows, like bearded up with glasses, is like trying to
Oh
be like
yeah,
another person?
something isn't here or something
I'm
like
still
that.
here.
I'm still here. Yep.
That was like, and for what? At the end of the day, like, who remembers that film?
You know
I'm
who
still
the
here.
worst motherfucker is to do method stuff and suck ass as an actor?
I already know who you're gonna say.
Can
Yeah.
you guess who I'm going to say?
Jared Leto?
Jared Leto. That fucker, like,
Um,
that's one of the worst examples of somebody that's like, I'm going to do everything method, but like all of his roles suck. Like every one of them. Like, dude, just do it regular. Like clearly the method.
He
thing is
was better when he did stuff regular. I like him in Fight Club, Lord of War, even, which is also getting a pointless sequel. I don't know why. But there's countless movies that he did earlier in his career. I mean, Requiem for a Dream. I think he's doing a good job in all that stuff. Like, I don't mind him. But I do know what you mean, though, with the latter works of his career. Yeah.
dude was in like, what was it, Morbius?
Morbius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, and it there's a line in it that goes, "It's Morbin time" or something like that. It's a line in that movie. Anyway, okay, so talking about Bo's Afraid, because this is apparently where we're going with this conversation now. Rob says it's one of those movies you have to watch and then think about it. It's got a lot going on and impossible to fairly judge in one scene. The more I thought about it, the more I liked it.
Mm-hmm. That's it, Rambo. You got to think about it, man. You got to watch it
going
again.
on? He's a sad, mopey crybaby for like an hour. I need my water. I'm going to look at 50 homeless people steal into my damn apartment.
I gotta see this. You're making me want to see this movie, by the way.
There's a guy scared crying on him on top of the damn bathtub to land on him, and he runs naked, and some bitch, like, I don't drink some paint in front of you because I feel like it. She's an idiot.
We're gonna get a commentary for that now.
As long as it doesn't suck ass.
You got to do a commentary now, Rambo.
Yeah, it'd be me dead asleep 5 minutes in.
Oh God!
I watch Heat and Shawshank Redemption and movies that actually do make you think, not pretentious Ari Aster head up his own ass. If he twisted his head, come out like a diamond. This piece of coal just stuck up tight up there. Fuck that director. Fuck that movie.
It's one of those films you need to watch 4 times to fully experience.
So it's Skinamarink?
Yeah, I'm gonna pass.
Enjoy your 12 hours that would take you to do that.
It's Skinamarink then. That's what it is.
I'm gonna have to watch it now, man. Like it's either people are like absolutely hating it or like being like this. So I don't know.
Yep.
Yeah,
well, I mean, completely different. That's Everything Everywhere All at Once, which you hated. That's completely different. That's a movie I liked. There you go, Robert Scott.
What was that, Rambo?
Everything Everywhere All at Once, which I know you didn't like with the sausage fingers.
I just, I think I was like way too I got too much in my ear about like how like much hype that movie had, and then watched it, and I was just kind of like, I don't know.
Did all the Oscars and stuff bother you too?
Well, actually, like, didn't necessarily bother me, but there's no way in hell that some of those people deserve to win an Academy Award because they were only in the film for like fucking maybe 10 minutes. Like, and it wasn't like they had an amazing role in that 10 minutes. It was just like a normal, everyday kind of role. Like, I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis should have won the Oscar, even though, I mean, whatever. I'm glad she did, but for that performance,
no, I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
I mean, it just wasn't Oscar worthy. Like, I think Michelle Yeoh's performance might have been Oscar worthy, but not some of those supporting actors. I'm just going to keep putting these up because I'm entertaining myself.
It is both of us.
Yeah. We're like the Lanny Poffos of fucking Horror Talk Radio scene.
Lanny Poffo, man, rest in peace to the genius with the Lanny Poffos. I guess that means Mark Randy Savage.
Yeah, I'll be Randy.
So Cornholio says don't do it. So I'm assuming you've seen Bo's Afraid and you don't want me to watch it. Is that what it is? All right, fair enough. It's got some dissenters here. Yeah,
It's
so
cool,
a lot of
that
people.
movie. I hope you're doing well, man.
A lot of people are saying they don't think Jamie should have won that. Okay. Anyway, though, does anybody have anything else? Because I am out of.
Well, the big one. What's your take on the whole writer's strike?
Oh yeah,
there's a big old writer's strike. I guess to me, it's not bad news. It's like good because they're not writing anyway. If it's stuff like Bo's Afraid, there ain't no fucking writing in that movie. Might as well just.
He brought it. He brought it full circle, Mark. He
did.
Yeah. That was amazing. I think it's.
I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's good because like it killed all those late night talk shows that are fucking awful, like James Corden and you know all of them basically, like because they're all on strike. They can't.
James
do
Corden
any new
is
shows.
so annoying. I don't think he's ever been funny. I mean, if you looked at a graveyard, you get more laughs than James Corden.
All of them.
I mean,
and all those shows are bad, in my opinion. Like you got Jimmy Fallon, which is fucking awful. Like try to watch that. You got
laugh like yeah.
Even the
laugh
even the one who's the guy that took over for Letterman.
Was it Jimmy Kimmel or is that another guy?
No, although I guess out of all of them, he's the one I can stand the most. But I still don't even like that show. But the other guy, the Stephen Colbert. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't even like that shit. So I'm happy for the writer's strike because I don't have to watch any of that shit or hear about it. So
yeah, well,
other than that,
very political. It's never been funny, but
I have no idea what they're bitching about though. Like I don't have any idea why they're complaining.
It's more pay, right? Or better pay.
Maybe if you write stuff worth the shit, you'd be worth the pay.
Goddamn, Rambo's doubling down on this writing thing.
Yeah,
not fucking.
Well, I mean, Scream 6, is that a script? None of that movie made sense.
Hey.
If you look at Scream 6, it's like, I guess I can't spoil it for those who haven't seen it, but it's like, you look at the ending, like, nothing about it made sense. This guy's a cop, and his son was a killer, but none of the cops ever knew that his son was a killer.
By the way,
it's like,
we
you
just
invested
take a moment to talk about how fucking bad Dermot Mulroney's acting was in that, and also Hayden Panettiere, Oscar Pistorius. Can we just really like? Because that's some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Like,
yeah, I agree. Like, I couldn't believe that that's the take the director wanted. They were like, "Yeah, that's good, man. Like, good shit, pal."
like,
that's good shit, brother.
Oh, she had a lot of like drunk face. There's a lot of drunk face or something. Just she wasn't there. Hayden, I've seen her do better, but it's just like I don't know.
It was like Duchovny and You People, kind of. Like
I need to watch that because you all keep hyping that up.
You don't want to watch that.
I just want to see him in it, just for that part of it.
One of the most bizarre performances ever from Duchovny, for sure. It's bizarre, but hilarious. I mean, in a bad way, though.
Huh. All right. Here's a new question.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting one. Who is your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street character that's not Freddy? And your favorite kill in any Nightmare on Elm Street franchise? In the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise.
For me, I'll say Lucy Wilcox as Alice in Elm Street 4, because I could really relate to that character being a quiet person in school that was a daydreamer, and always enjoyed that film. And then my favorite kills in that film, which is the whole Roach Motel scene, because I thought Scream Mad George did a really good job on the effects, and still work very well to the day. Those effects still gives me a little bit of the.
Oh yeah.
So I would say those.
Mark, what do you think?
Well, it's not actually a death scene, but I always enjoyed the Freddy unzipping himself kind of, or coming out of Jesse in part 2. But he said a death scene. I guess the Rodney Eastman one in part 3.
Oh, with the bed and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, wait. Not that one. I think, is it Bradley Gregg where he's like the puppet and they use
oh
the
yeah. That's Bradley Gregg at the beginning. Yeah.
That one. That's probably my favorite. That's one of the most creative, I think, and most fun because it kind of goes for a nice length of time. It's not really quick or anything. And I love the effects with the arms, the forearms and stuff.
I do too. That's a great scene. Yeah.
Favorite character though,
other than Freddy, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, that's. You'll have to come back to me. I'm gonna have to think about that.
That is tough, man. There's not that many good characters in those fucking movies. Like,
yeah.
Okay, so favorite death scene for me, and I'll tell you why, because it's like my favorite delivery of a line, and I just will randomly say this line around the house all the time, especially like around dinner time. So I think it's in part 5 where he like is feeding the one model chick, and he like basically feeds her to death until she like explodes. But the line is, he just goes, "Bon appetit, bitch." It's like there's this long pause, and like it throws the bitch in there. Oh, that's just, I don't know, that's great. Favorite character though, other than Freddy, I mean, it would probably either be Lisa or her brother, like Lisa Wilcox or her brother in part 4, or possibly oh God, what's her name from part 3? The punk chick,
Jennifer Rubin.
Yeah, possibly her too.
Taryn? No, not Taryn. Was it Taryn?
It's Taryn. Yeah,
I can't remember. Oh, okay. That was Taryn. Okay, cool. Yeah, they were good in that.
Matt's got a good question too. How excited are you that Live Night in LA is finally street day? I'm so excited that I already pre-ordered the fucking thing, because I was like, I'm not even going to like mess around. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-order it, because it's, you know, one of the best movies that freaking did, aside from Sorcerer and The Exorcist, of course.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully there's no fuck ups on the 4K, like the hard target thing. They've got a couple of things coming out I'm really looking forward to. That's one of them, and Death Machine for sure, because that's never had like a legit good release here. So
if it ever comes out, Kino Lorber can suck my ass.
What happened? Like I thought it was still coming, but then like I've seen conflicting things online. So did they lose the rights or something?
Well, they do. This happen all the time lately with them. Not all the time, but more often, where they'll announce something and then a year or two goes by and then they go, "Oh, actually, we don't have the print." I'm like, well, why did you announce it then? Like, wouldn't that be the number one thing you would make sure you could get?
Right.
And so, like, for those wondering, like, okay, well, maybe they're one who likes this movie, but I was excited because they said this was coming out in 4K.
Oh,
and I'm glad I didn't sell my Blu-ray. I'm glad, because a year goes by and they go, well, actually, we don't know where the print is. It's in Italy. And this is after a year. And I'm like, you announced it's coming soon. Your definition of coming soon is different from mine. I don't know. We have different definition of coming soon. It's like coming soon to never. I'm like, well, I don't know that you have it before you announce it. Like, well, Phantasm, apparently they can't find it. So they announced it a year ago, and they still can't find the print. I'm like, well, that was great of you. Such to the people who sold their Blu-ray. Which is their fault. They should.
By the way,
at the same time,
if you own any Scream Factory Blu-rays, you should probably sell them all, because them motherfuckers are just putting out 4Ks like fucking pancakes, man. Like, just sell any Blu-ray you got, because they're going to be out on 4K. I guarantee it. And those Blu-rays ain't going to be worth nothing. So, just a side note to that. Real quick question here too. So, Little Dumpling Books, who often frequents one of the other streams that I'm a big fan of, which is Dana's stream over at Evil Dead Chick.
Cool.
It says, are any of you guys actually like older classic movies? Now, when you say older classic movies, what are we referring? Like, are we talking about 30s and 40s? Are we talking about like 50s? Like what time frame?
Yeah, it's like Cary Grant, James Cagney shit. Like, are we like?
Yeah.
How far are we going back in terms of classics? That's.
I love you too, Soft Serve. I'm not sure where this comes from, but
well,
yes, we'll tongue kiss later.
It's a nice gesture.
So this is the soft swerve his tongue.
Yeah.
Oh, serve. Okay.
Yeah.
So soft serving of.
You don't want to know what the soft serve means, Matt.
Like ice cream.
Okay. So she's saying like 40s, like movies from the 40s. I'm going to just be honest, man. Like, I don't watch. I barely ever watch anything from the 50s or 60s. So I'm not going to say that I'm a huge fan of the like classic movies, because I'm just not.
I mean, I mentioned Cary Grant, so I'll probably say Arsenic and Old Lace. I think that's 44. I bought the Criterion of that last year. I was so excited. I didn't see anybody else talk about it, but that's one of my favorite Cary Grant movies, if not my favorite. Have you guys ever seen that one?
No.
Mm.
Okay, so it's set on Halloween, and Cary Grant's brother is a serial killer, and he's been having plastic surgery nonstop, switching his face. Cary Grant returns home, and he's going to surprise his two old aunts, and of course his serial killer brother shows up. But the big surprise is that he's getting married, and his brother kind of like throws a wrench in everything that's going on, and then the police get involved. It's pretty crazy, but he's the only one that's in the family that's not crazy. Cary Grant, his brother's a serial killer, and his two older aunts have been killing people with arsenic for about the last 20 years. It's a really wild movie, but I would highly recommend people seeing it if they're into movies from that era.
Well, I'm not sure if any. Some of these might be 40s, but there's a couple of them. I did like the original silent film Metropolis, especially when they did the Giorgio Moroder cut, which they had Giorgio Moroder, who did music for Scarface and others, and then they took the silent film, but they put some of his 80s type of music in there. Mm-hmm. But even the original version, I do like a Metropolis. I think there's some pretty interesting visuals for that time in the 20s or so. I do like the original Dracula and Frankenstein. I think The Invisible Man is actually fairly good. That was I keep thinking 40s, that might be late 30s. Some of the older Hitchcock films, I do like Rope with James Stewart. I like the way that's shot to try to make it look like it's all in one take. I think that was 1948. I actually like Notorious as well, which is another early Hitchcock film. I think it has some good atmosphere, kind of a spy espionage film done by Hitchcock. I think it has some really good looking shots in it. And I can't remember the film. It's the film that was kind of the basis for Throw a Moment from the Train. I think Strangers on a Train.
Yeah, that's the Hitchcock.
And then I like the old school comedy like Three Stooges, Red Skelton, some of the early Laurel and Hardy. But I love Three Stooges, Red Skelton. Was it Whistling in the Dark, Whistling in Dixie, and then I got a collection of the Three Stooges shorts up there. Mm-hmm. Even in the 50s, I like the theme from Another World. I think that's great. Yeah. Sci-fi film. John Carpenter's film is still my favorite of that, but Love the theme from Another World. So there's a few. Is that as much because I grew up with the 80s and 90s stuff, but there's still some in that era that I do quite enjoy.
Yeah, I'm a big Abbott and Costello fan. I have that huge box set that they put out some years ago. All of those are great.
Yeah.
When they meet Frankenstein, that's the best one for sure.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I always like when they meet the Invisible Man. I like that one as well.
That one's good too.
Boxing sequences.
Exactly. Yeah, that's good stuff.
All right, this question right here could go on for probably hours, but what type of action films do you guys like? It's like when you say what type of action films, I mean, I like them all. I'm not really
even Michael Bay.
Well, fuck. You got me on that.
I mean, he's done some movies I like. I mean, I like the first Bad Boys. That's the best one out of the franchise to me. So,
but I mean, if you look at the history of action films. I love the exploitation style films, like your Death Wishes and things like that. Those are amazing. All the Cannon stuff, Golden Globe stuff is great with like freaking. You got your Missing in Actions and things like that. And then you've got your Van Dammes, your Seagal, like the more modern ones that were the 80s or 90s. They're not modern anymore. Fuck. But like 80s and 90s ones, yes, very nice.
The golden era.
Very, very nice, very evil. Your Seagal, your Van Damme, your Schwarzenegger, your Stallone, ninja movies. Pretty much any ninja movie. Any sword and sorcery movie that was like Conan, I like usually. So there's all kinds of different like subgenres of action films from that time period, so you could say.
Fully agreed. I love the Cannon films. I even love underrated company in the early 90s, which was PM Entertainment, which pretty much Cannon films in the 90s. Zero Tolerance with Robert Patrick is a really good one. If anyone out there likes Robert Patrick, you would love Zero Tolerance. Deadly Outbreak, Jesse Pinkman shoots a guy in the balls and then goes, "I guess you forgot your bulletproof cup."
He's underrated, I think.
Yeah, I love a huge action fan, and other than the Bourne films, I think they suck because you can't tell what the hell's going on.
Well,
somebody with the camera.
Somebody mentioned that, like anything not shaky cam related, which I hate that shit too. Like, but I like a lot of the newer ones too, like the Equalizer films, the John Wick films. Like, I like all those types of like action movies too. So, I mean, even the more modern ones I still watch and enjoy.
Do you like the Mission Impossible movies?
No, I fucking don't like Tom Cruise, and
I know that's why I asked. I had to
give a shit about any. He did that one movie with Jamie Foxx,
Collateral.
I kind of like that one, but that's just because like he's really not playing the typical like Tom Cruise role in that.
Yeah. So
I mean, that movie kind of works for me better. I don't know why. And even then, I'm just like, I fucking don't like. I just look at his face and want to punch something. But I tell you one that everybody needs to go back and watch if you've never seen. And I just watched this recently. I think I was talking about it because it's not good at all. Let me just preface that by saying it's not good, but it has a great performance in it by Michael Parks. And that is Death Wish 5. I still can't get over how, and you can just fucking tell that like none of what he was saying was probably scripted at all. Like he was just making like decisions about what to do on the fly in that movie. I guarantee it. Like, I don't know that, but it just watch it and then tell me that that's not the case. Like the shit he was saying and like how he was saying it, like that's all him just doing improv stuff. I almost guarantee it. Watch Death Wish 5, Face of Death, just for that. Like, it's not like a great film. It's not even the best film in that series. But
no, it's probably the worst one.
Yeah, just for his performance.
Yeah. He's the type of guy you could just say action, let him go, and he'll give you something that's worth watching.
Yep.
And a remote control soccer ball death. You got that too.
Yep.
Yeah, you do have a remote controlled soccer ball death. Yeah.
And the acid
Yep.
at the end.
It's like by that point they're becoming like Saw movies, just trying to like come up with death sequences that are, these big death scenes. I've never seen Top Gun, Neopunk, and I'll never fucking probably ever watch it. I just don't have any interest in that.
Yeah.
Chris C, that movie is called Silent Rage, which is another amazing movie from that time period too.
And the other companion piece is Hero and the Terror.
Yeah.
Which is not as good.
Yeah.
Also put out by Kino as well.
Yeah.
Do you guys like H.P. Lovecraft?
Haven't read his stories. I do like some of the movies his stuff is based on, but I've not read his stories to form an opinion on it.
Yeah, I've only gone back to check out Reanimator. The short story, I mean. Of course, I've seen the movie a million times. As far as adaptations go, of course, From Beyond is always good. Yeah, in terms of his actual written stuff, he's one guy I've never like really dove into, honestly.
No, I've never read any of his shit. I do like the Stuart Gordon stuff.
Yeah.
A lot. This question just fucking about took me out though. Are you freaked out with the Lord? That's just a perfect random question to throw in there. Thank you for that. Oh yeah, I also feel that way about Vin Diesel, Neopunk. Don't worry, you're not alone in that either. The way that you feel about Tom Cruise is how I feel about Vin Diesel. Dude, I've never liked a single thing that Vin Diesel's ever been in. Not one single fucking thing that guy has ever done have I liked. And I'm talking about also Pitch Dark, Pitch Black, Pitch Perfect, whatever the fuck that movie's called. I don't like it either, so don't start that shit.
Oh man, I'm trying to think of any. There's got to be something. Iron Giant? No.
Are you talking about the? Isn't that like a cartoon?
It's Vin Diesel.
Are we doing voice work? I'm talking about his acting and shit.
Oh, okay. I just thought you meant like anything he had to do with. Okay.
Pretty much anything. Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Oh God, he's Groot. Yeah, I mean, I get it. He says one line. That's not what we're talking about.
One film I think, well, Uncle Bill's never going to watch this one. I don't blame him. But I actually really enjoyed was he did one called Find Me Guilty, which I actually thought he actually did a fairly good acting role in that, where he's like a mob guy. It's like a comedy, but it's also a trial. And I kind of wish he would do more of that, but I know he does these big budget films that bomb, so he keeps doing 85 Fast and Furious movies, sadly. So I wish he would do more films.
Isn't there one out right now or something, or coming out, or it's already out?
Coming out.
That's right. Yeah.
And then that's going to have two more, because it was going to be two more. Now he said there's going to be three.
Yeah, the studio wants a trilogy out of the last movie, so I don't know how they're going to pull that off.
Do you realize I've never seen one of those fucking movies? And I probably never will. Like,
I'm going to do a patron request now so you can watch it.
Please don't.
You and CK can watch one.
Here's the thing. I don't like Vin Diesel, and I could give a fuck about like cars and stuff like that. So it's like, it's all of those things combined into one thing that I just don't care about. Okay, real quick. I don't know why, but this guy's asked this question 15 times, so I'm just gonna like put it up here. Mark, have you seen a Serbian film?
That's so random. Yeah, I have, but
did you love it? Was it your favorite?
So I'm trying to think of something good to say. The cinematography, I think it looks fine, but I mean, what they're shooting is not like things I want to see constantly. So, I don't know. I think it's I know it's the whole like social commentary on their country or whatever the hell.
Oh, give me a Burton. Come on,
I know
man.
I know that's their
That's what it is,
On
Mark.
commentary.
That's
So,
why he did that. It wasn't for the
Apparently.
shock value of it. It was social commentary.
That's right.
yes, a
There's a lot of
commentary
social
why I
commentary.
never got another job again after making that film.
There's a lot of
That's his
social
commentary. I never
commentary
got a job
in
again.
the Human Centipede too. A lot going on there.
That whole
Two Girls, One
franchise.
Cup has a wonderful subtext of sexism. Two Girls, One Cup. This is Ari Aster level, Beau is Afraid level. It's as deep as Beau is Afraid. Two Girls, One Cup.
I'm gonna really have to watch Beau's Afraid now.
Yeah,
You've sold me on it.
I'm so sold on it now. I gotta see it.
It's
I
got to
did
be
my job.
god awful. What's your thoughts on the Untold Story? I don't know what that is, but somebody asked.
Oh, I love it.
What is the
Great.
Untold Story?
The Anthony Wong Cat 3 movie.
One of those Category 3
Oh.
Hong Kong movies.
Mhm.
I'm way far behind in Category 3 movies. I just tell you that.
Yeah, that I think it's. I mean, if you liked Ebola syndrome, in terms of like the level of violence, it might be a little bit more extreme. I think because it's been a while since I've seen it. I have the Unearthed Blu-ray over here. I think they kill kids in that one.
Oh, good.
Like there's chopstick rape.
What?
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's yeah.
Every movie needs that.
Yeah. But oddly enough, here's the thing: like, there's a layer of comedy to it throughout that actually works. It's a solid detective story. It's a good flick. I think it's better than Ebola Syndrome, honestly, despite the over the top violence.
So is it still out, Mark? I mean, can you buy it from Unearthed still?
Yeah.
All right.
I think CK has it. I think he got it.
Really?
I don't know if it was the birthday stream or maybe a stream before that. I think Radkins gave it to him. So
Probably trying to freak him out.
that should be the next commentary. I'm telling you, you guys will have a blast watching it. Honestly, it's something. I know you guys enjoyed Ebola Syndrome, but that's the subliminal like next step. Like you gotta go, you gotta get it.
There's another one that everybody always keeps bringing up too in that Category 3 stuff, which is like Dr. Lamb or something like that.
I have that one too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's a little different. It's got Steve's favorite, like, pastime in there, but
You can't say, but we all know. All you have to do is say Steve's pastime, and we know.
But yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's your typical Cat 3 stuff. I mean, if you like that stuff, though.
Steve watches it on Christmas. Yeah, that guy.
Watch it on his wedding night.
Yeah. So I don't know. Does anybody have anything else? We're at the 2-hour mark now anyway.
Well, this one's kind of a rumor. So
I like rumors.
Yeah, there's marketing up for the next entry into the Cloverfield franchise.
God damn it.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, I like 10 Cloverfield Lane. John Goodman is the best part of that. I like the whole, spoilers. I mean, it's only been out for like 12 or 13 years. But the whole ending with the aliens, obviously that's kind of my thing anyway. So yeah, if it's more in the vein of that, I'll take it. But I didn't really care for, I think the last one was Cloverfield Paradox or something like that. I think that was the last one.
They made some bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
some Netflix thing or something.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I could take it or leave it, but again, if it's more in line with the second one, I'll be interested. But I don't have any faith. I mean, what do you guys? I'm guessing you guys don't like Cloverfield.
I saw the first one in the theater. I liked it for what it was, but it's not a film I watch a lot. But wasn't big on the ending. But I liked it for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the hell the second one had to do with the first one. It's like, other than the title, they had like nothing to each other.
Right.
But
Yeah,
other than this title, how are they related?
That's like the thing. Like, it's a franchise based off of them using the specific title of this code name for the government of like these epidemic things that just kind of happen. They may be supernatural in nature. They may be extraterrestrial in nature. That's kind of like the link between all of them.
Is there really a desire for people to want more Cloverfield shit? I mean, that's the answer for like everything we talked about tonight.
Yeah.
Is there desire for more of this?
And the answer
Because
is
I got
no.
my answer
No,
already.
there's not.
It's like they're doing I Am Legend 2.
Right, I saw that.
Will Smith coming back.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, Will
is he
Smith might
fucking
be
coming
Gordon, I Am
back?
Legend.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're basing it on the other ending that was on the DVD where he lived.
Yeah.
Even though most people saw the ending where he died.
Exactly.
And Will Smith wants big movies after the slap. So I Am
got
Legend
bad
2.
news. It don't matter what Will Smith's in. It ain't going to do well. Not now. Also, it should be called I Am Legend, or that would be a perfect name for it. The first Cloverfield movie I saw in the theater, that was the only movie that I've ever gotten physically sick watching in a movie theater. Like, I got motion sickness. There was so much like shaky cam shit going on in that movie, and like, so I'd never really liked it just because of that. But the one with Goodman, the 10 Cloverfield Lane one, that was a good film. Like, I didn't mind that one at all. Very ambiguous too as to what was going on throughout the film as well. Jay wants to know if someone can sell him Emmanuel's black box in a brown paper bag with nudie playing cards. Yeah.
Yeah, you get it from Steve. I know he's got it. So
yep, he's super hyped about Black Emmanuel. But to answer your question about Cloverfield, though, I'm not sure what to make out of those movies. The one thing I hated, though, was that Cloverfield Paradox shit was a great idea that bombed horribly. So if you remember, Netflix released that unannounced, just out of nowhere, they dropped that, which was awesome. It's just it sucked so bad that it killed that idea. I don't think they ever have done that again since that happened. They've been made a movie and then not told anybody and then just released it unannounced like that. Never happened again. But that was such a good idea that kind of got screwed over.
Yeah, I think they marketed the first one really well. There was a lot of mystery surrounding it. Everybody, I remember they thought it was going to be like a Godzilla type thing, but they were quick to shoot that down and just to keep the speculation going. I saw the first one in the theater as well. I enjoyed it. It was fine. But
yes, he is.
But yeah, the second one was a nice surprise. And then I think actually even before that, I think Super 8 was speculated to be like the next installment, but that wasn't it. So yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I mean, there's always a franchise to resurrect for them to try to squeeze a little bit more of the juice out of. So this one just kind of falls in that category of much like everything else we've talked about so far.
Like the Meg 2, which the trailer came out.
I saw the trailer for that. It looks great.
I want to see Stephen find more. This time it's 3, I think. There's 3. And there's an octopus and probably some dinosaurs and some xenomorphs and some predators.
That movie's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. First in line and second in line.
Thoughts on the mockumentary subgenre? I'm assuming this means stuff like WNUF, Spinal Tap, maybe movies like that.
It's not done enough, I don't think. I don't think there's a whole lot of stuff there where they sequelize or franchise. So I'd like to see more of that. It's a good subgenre. I'm fine with it. I don't have any issues.
Me either, really. Like I pretty much everything Christopher Guest has done has been a mockumentary, so I like all those movies too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do I. And I've seen more and more thrillers, horror films try to go on that route. And I think I mentioned this one before, so I don't know if Cornholio, if these are the type you're talking about, but like films like this, Savage Land, it's a mockumentary where it's filmed like a documentary, but it's about a guy who, this town was murdered. It's a border town, and this guy here was caught, and you kind of find out through this series of still pictures that there's much more than meets the eye, and it's all done in a documentary format, about mockumentary. There's been other films, Butterfly Kisses is one, Population Zero, where, no, there's a Population Zero. It was interesting because it made me realize there was a law at one point, something about in Yellowstone, in a certain part of Yellowstone, you could murder someone in the right circumstances and not be put in jail. And I think it has to be the exact, something about you can't have a trial because no one is around there. And part of a trial is you have to have people around in that area. Something about that loophole. That was kind of the initial setup for this. Like, why did this guy do it? And that's more of like a drama thriller about. Well, it's an interesting mockumentary. That's more of like a crime thriller, like drama. It's not horror.
Would the Sacrament be considered one kind of?
I could see that because it's basically like just a mockumentary about the Jim Jones shit. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I was going to say there's another one with Werner Herzog is actually in it. It was called Incident at Loch Ness. So it's like he plays himself, and he's like, they get him because he's done documentaries like Grizzly Man, which is a documentary. And so he's like, oh, I don't believe in the Loch Ness Monster. And it's like a comedy, but it's also a little bit of creature feature. But I thought it was interesting that they got the actual Werner Herzog, who has directed various films and worked on Grizzly Man and stuff. I thought that was interesting mockumentary. Oh, cool. Thank you, man. Yeah, it's an interesting subgenre.
Yeah.
Oh God, does anybody fucking say this? What are you guys' thoughts on people saying the Fright Night remake is better than the original? Who the fuck's saying that?
Ridiculous.
I've heard that before, someone saying it.
Ridiculous.
You know, I'm gonna tell you something right now. Fright Night is probably one of the best horror films to come out of the 80s. Just for the performances and everything. But one thing that I cannot, now that somebody brought this up, I cannot not see it now. It's one of those things where I never paid any attention to it until somebody mentioned this. But somebody mentioned that the original Fright Night, like everybody in that film hates one another. And I never, like, if you think about it, like the girlfriend is always mad at Charlie. Like Evil Ed is always mad at Charlie, and they're always kind of like fighting because like he's like nobody likes anybody in the group of friends or anything in that movie, like throughout the entirety of that movie. And I never really paid any attention to that until somebody brought that up, and I was like, that is true. Like they're always like either fighting or like just pissed or just, you know, throughout that entire film. But that being said, that doesn't matter just because like all the performances in that movie are amazing.
Yeah. Probably Tom Holland's best movie. I don't think most people would disagree with that.
That and Psycho 2, I would put.
Oh yeah.
Psycho 2 like right up there too. But yeah, I could. Friday Night's one of those movies I could watch at any point in time, like whatever.
Yeah, same.
There are actually people that say that. Fucking dude, like that Fright Night remake was a big piece of shit. Didn't it have McLovin in it? Who
It
was he
did.
in it?
He was Evil Ed. Yeah. You thought that was bad. What about the sequel to the remake?
Oh, that's true. With the female vampire or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I think it's been forever since I've seen it.
I know.
They go to like Europe or something, I think. And
Yeah.
you know what's over there.
Hostels.
Well, amongst other things, I meant more so like our lead, like antagonist. I think it's Elizabeth Bathory.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I think that's what it was. So, yeah, good times.
I remember getting that movie to review. I'm not sure what year that came out, but we were still doing the show, and like I watched it.
I think 2011, maybe somewhere around.
Yeah, and just remember how awful it was.
Yeah.
2013.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
In Romania.
Yeah, that's what it was. There you go.
If you need to be cheap, have a tapeless Romania.
There is no good remakes really of that era. Like people always ask, like, what's the best remake from that time period where they were remaking everything in the early to late? There's really not any good ones, man. Like Dawn of the Dead would probably be the best one I could think of off the top of my head. But like in terms of like, there was 100 of them probably, and none of them were better than like mid garbage to like lower garbage. Like just so many horrible fucking films that came out around that time.
Well, you know, The Stepfather was pretty good. I'm joking.
I'm trying to remember the Stepfather remake.
Wasn't
that the one with the dude from like Nip Tuck in it?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I tell you one that was great though, Mark. You need to go back and watch this one. Was the Hitcher remake with Sean Bean. That was fucking just dynamite.
Took a big shit all over Eric Red's like amazing. They completely missed the point of the original. Completely.
Pretty much.
And I'm sure there's people that like that one over the original, so whatever.
Romania is where the last 300 Steven Seagal movies were filmed.
He's not lying.
He's right.
Oh, man. I will admit, I'm alone in this. I actually really like the Hills of Eyes remake. I will admit, but it's mainly the third act because the guy looks like me when I have my hair. So it's like a bunch of dudes with like good, the bad, the ugly music in. So it's like I'm watching the thing. I'm like, that guy kind of looks like me. When I have my hair and stuff, it's like I'm Doug from Hills of Eyes. All right.
You know what? I was okay with that movie up until the fucking giant brain thing at the end.
Oh, the guy in the wheelchair.
Yeah, when it got to that, I'm like,
I was ready for it to pop like a zit. I love that.
Yep.
Like that's what it needed. Him one slam and just like it was popping. Like one of those crushers. What was it called? Forget the candy. Gushers.
Wow, that's a first. Jackson Jack, you like the sequel to The Hills?
Holy shit.
Well, I mean, it's better than the original Hills of Ice Part 2 with the dog flashback. I'll give you that.
Oh, yeah.
Dog flashback.
I remember that. Yeah. I think I saw that one in the theater too, actually, the remake sequel.
All right. I have an idea.
I'll give flash for this.
I like the last show.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's an idea for a show. Let's all watch all of the Wrong Turn movies and every single one of them, and then we'll review them all on here. Seems like a good idea.
The Wrong Turn series.
Speaking of like,
speaking of like what?
Like Hills Have Eyes and shit like that. Like,
Yeah.
You talk about something that jumped the shark like 20 years ago, but they still keep making them fucking things. Those Wrong Turn movies.
Didn't they did like a remake, right?
Yes, which had
That-
absolutely nothing to do with like Wrong Turn. It was other than the name, it was actually fairly decent, but it had nothing to do with Wrong Turn. Like I don't know.
No, nothing to do with
Of
it.
the original movies, like the original franchise run, did you guys watch all those? Or did you stop at a certain point?
I stopped after 2. Yeah.
Okay.
After the second one, I cashed in.
Yeah, I saw all of them.
It's like he's been in Nam or something
Yeah.
when he said that. I've seen some shit.
Like the third one's like with a prison bus, and like the fourth one's like a prequel in the snow, and the fifth one, I can't remember which one, fifth or sixth. One of them got in trouble because they had like a missing, you know how they do missing posters, but they're stupid enough to use real ones. So of course the victims of the family's like, what are you doing? That's our missing brother or something on that damn board. So they got delayed for a bit, but wish it was delayed forever, so I never saw it. But
be nice.
I think the
They
last
didn't
one I
need a
saw
fight
was well, Matt, maybe you can help me. Which one is the one where they're in like an asylum or something?
that might have been the fifth one or the sixth one.
It's sad you have to say that. There's been 5 or 6 of those.
That's a good
Is
question.
that the one with? Is that the one the guy finds out he's related to one of them, and then he becomes a bad guy at the end and turns on his girlfriend?
I don't remember
He
that
does
part.
He does a little Texas Chainsaw 3D where he finds out he's related to them, and then he's like, "Nope,
Do your thing,
I was
cuz.
waiting for do your thing, cuz."
Yep.
Yeah,
I can't remember. I actually liked the first
crazy.
one. I saw it in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
But I like
Yeah, the first one was fine. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Remember True Calling? Anybody?
A little bit.
Anybody? It's just a TV show with her in it.
Vaguely.
That's all I can remember. All right, guys. So I guess we'll take this time real quick just to remind everybody that on the 13th, which what the fuck is the 13th? That's fucking today now.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
at 10 o'clock on the 13th, which is freaking Saturday, we will be doing a patron commentary. So if you are not on our Patreon, please sign up, join the commentary. Anybody can join that's a patron, unless our fucking systems explode from so many people like signing in, which is a possibility. We will be doing one of the worst zombie films ever made by Bruno Mattei, Hell of the Living Dead. So make sure that you check that out. It's basically 50% of Dawn of the Dead and 50% of a really bad Italian zombie film. So if you think that's something you would like, then tomorrow at 10 o'clock, you can join us if you're a patron. And as always, I want to thank Rambo, of course, for being on here, taking time to do this.
Thank you.
As well. What do you got coming up, Rambo? I know that you've got 50 videos already getting ready to come out right now.
Yeah, the same old. Bunch of random reviews, including Rocket Man with Harlan Williams.
Holy
For those who remember
shit.
that.
Barely
like
remember
crappy
that.
Jim-
Yeah.
And then in the future, I did get requests recently to watch Evil Dead Rise, so I'll be seeing that sometime. That'll be fun.
I cannot wait for you to see that movie.
Yeah, and I find to watch it now because it's on digital and I don't have to pay for it, so I'll be Jack Sparrow for that. And yeah, a bunch of stuff. One quick last thing about the news. It says no news is good news, and this is definitely the worst news. But with a hopeful little bit at the end that's hopeful.
Is it about the Freaky Friday sequel?
No,
I forgot about that.
It's about Dolph Lundgren.
Oh,
you know, he
okay.
just mentioned 8-year battle with cancer. He was told that at one point he had 2-3 years left, then at one point 2-3 months left. He got a second opinion, and thankfully the doctor told him to take these things, and the tumor shrunk down from a lemon to enough size that it's under control, and don't try to get rid of the scar tissue. So definitely wish him the best, because it seems like of the action guys, like the way you mentioned Stallone, the stuff I've heard is like the opposite with Dolph.
Yeah.
He seems like a good guy, a decent down to earth guy, and the fact, I mean, that news sucked, but the fact that there's a nice light at the end of the tunnel gives a nice ending, I guess, to everything in between. So definitely wish him the best. Always been a big fan of him. Loved a lot of his early stuff. I Come in Peace, Showdown Low Tokyo. And he didn't always seem like a good guy. One of the few guys to punch Stallone and Rocky IV and literally move his heart and make him into the hospital.
It's a shame he didn't fucking kill him before he made all those horrible films, but yeah. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
But it's toxic positivity. That's what
That's
I
right.
positively wish this happens. But yeah, wish him the best. And Dolph Lundgren, I always thought was like, at that time period, probably the most underrated action guy, because he made a lot of good films and none of them really did well, went straight to video and such. He always got a bad luck. Like The Punisher was going to go into theaters, but then the company went belly up and went straight to VHS. Cholo Toad was going to get released, but then Warner Bros. Cut it down to like 70 minutes and it went to like 100 theaters. Men of War was going to in theaters, but then Dolph doesn't sell, so he just went straight to video, even though that's one of his better ones. So always seems like a good guy, always been a big fan, so I'm glad he's doing well, but wanted to mention that. And apparently they're working on a documentary with him, just like there's an Arnold documentary on Netflix coming out. So I look forward to that. I hope everything goes well. So I mentioned that last bit.
And Jamie Foxx as well. He's out of the hospital,
what
apparently.
the fuck? Did anybody ever say what happened to him?
I heard it was a stroke.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which, I might be wrong. Somebody could correct me, but didn't his sister pass away of the same thing, or something similar?
I have no idea. But I mean, that makes sense as to like what that would keep him in the hospital for that long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what in the world?
Yeah, they mentioned it was a stroke.
Yeah.
On the set of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of the hospital and recovering, they say, but hopefully it sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'd forgot about the doll thing. I'm glad you brought that up, though. So, yeah, definitely best to him. Hopefully for recoveries for both those guys. But, Mark, you got anything coming up? Like, what are you doing?
I had to completely rework my my video. Me and Matt were talking last night, and I was warned about certain things that I should or shouldn't post in the video. So, because apparently YouTube likes to pick and choose who they want to fuck with. So,
the only thing I mentioned was you could go ahead and do it. I have a friend that did a review of Terrifier 2. He had 3 still pictures. That's it. And he got a strike and got the video taken down. Oh, I mean, YouTube just plays Russian roulette on any video. A lot of people get away with it. Some don't. So all I say is best of luck for anybody.
Yeah, I already redid a lot of it, so it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, that video should be up on the weekend. So yeah, just that one video, nothing else anytime soon, though. Oh, well, I'll be on the commentary tomorrow night. So there's that.
Oh, well, that's good. Okay. It's been forever since I've seen this movie, man. But I remember that they lifted the Goblins soundtrack from Dawn of the Dead, and basically it's just almost like a remake of Dawn of the Dead in certain parts, like just horrible. So yeah, it's going to be fun to go back and revisit that. But yeah, anybody is welcome to come on this thing, like I said. So every now and then when there's like some it's like the bat signal, when there's some awful news stories that break, we will do one of these shows. Try to do them, at least once a month, or whenever there's like a slew of horrible news like this. But I thank everybody from the chats for basically cracking me up the entire fucking time. I thank everybody that's been in here watching the show. And I thank you guys, of course, for being on here. And so
thanks for having me.
Yeah, check us out anytime, guys. Check us out on Dead Pit on Patreon, Into the Dead Pit on Instagram, YouTube. Sign up for the Patreon page. Get ready to buy the fucking Into the Pit documentary because we're going to be selling that son of a bitch. And,
I want signed copy.
Well, we will be doing that as well. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And here's the really weird thing, and I don't know. Probably by now CK's in bed, so I can just say this because he probably wouldn't want me to say this, but I'm going to say just this. Oddly enough, after 15 some odd years, there is interest in this documentary from some like retailers, some pretty major retailers. So we'll be talking more about that in the next week or so too. So this should get interesting soon about what we're going to be doing with this.
You guys doing the deal with Scream Factory?
That'd be so killer. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to get like a pin set of us made and all that. Yeah. The vinyl with all the Helllord songs on it. No,
that would be awesome.
That's probably not going to happen, but just stay tuned for what's coming next. But yeah, so we're out here, guys. Thanks a lot. See you guys later.
Give us the thumbs up.
Up you butts.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a if you do.
I want you to. I want you to.
I don't care.
Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that, pal.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
Hey folks, it's Oak Early Jaws. I might be banned off of YouTube, but that doesn't mean I can get you some great shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. First, we got Steve Benningfield goes against our community standards in nudity or sexual activity. We got the deadpit.com shirt. We got Cardboard. We got L Lord. We got Tales from the Dark Side. We got Dead Pit. And we got a Princess Puffin shirt, boss. It doesn't get any fucking better. Brandon had the accident. Aww. But these shirts just get better and better, boss. You gotta go over to shop.deadpit.com and pick you up some shirts right fucking now. What are you fucking waiting for? Do it. Do it now, because Old Curly Jaw said so.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Dead Pit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows and fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.